Hello everybody! This week you are doing your learning on people who help us. So today we're going to have a little think about people who help us and a little look at some pictures of examples of people who help us. And then we're going to learn about someone in particular, and that person is Mary Seacole. So to begin with, we're going to have a look at people who help us. Then your challenge is going to be to write a list of people who help us. So let's see if you can recognise some of these people who help us. Fire, men and women. Doctors. Nurses. Supermarket workers. Police, men and women. And teachers. So those were just a few examples of people who help us. So what you're going to do now is write a list of those people and of any other ones that you can think of. Remember, when writing your lists, you need to use your cursive handwriting, and each person needs to be on a new line. Okay, good luck. What we're going to do now is we're going to learn some more about Mary Seacole. So Mary Seacole was born in Kingston, Jamaica in 1805. Her father was a Scottish army officer and her mother was a doctress. And a doctress was a healer. She would use natural remedies and medicines to help injured soldiers. And her mother would create these different remedies and medicines with herbs, Jamaican and Caribbean herbs. In order to help the soldiers further, she opened up her own boarding house to help these injured soldiers. So she knew a lot about medicine, and that's where Mary Seacole learnt a lot of her knowledge and a lot of her skills from her mother. So Mary was most famous for travelling to Crimea. And she travelled to Crimea in 1853, and she wanted to help the soldiers in the Crimean War. So the first thing she decided to do was go to the London War Offices and see if she could help through them. The main thing she wanted to do was to work with Florence Nightingale, another very famous nurse. But sadly, the London War Officers and Florence Nightingale did not accept Mary Seacole and did not allow her to work with them. And that was because of something called racial prejudice. And even though Mary had very good references, she was turned down because of the colour of her skin. And racial prejudice is when people are treated differently because of the colour of their skin and because of who they are. And that is what happened to Mary Seacole. So Mary decided that she wouldn't let this get her down, and it wouldn't stop her from helping these soldiers in Crimea. So instead of going through the London War Offices, or instead of working with Florence Nightingale, which she did really want to do, she decided that she would pay for herself to go to Crimea. So that's what she did. To begin with, when she got to Crimea, she helped the soldiers by getting them food and water and other drinks to help keep them healthy and fit. And eventually she felt like she wanted to do more. So with the money that she got doing this food and water and drink delivery to the soldiers, she ended up opening her very own hospital. But she didn't call it a hospital, she called it the British Hotel. And that was in 1855. So she set up her very own hospital, and she used a lot of the skills that her mother taught her, using these natural remedies and medicines to help these injured soldiers. Mary Seacole was amazing. She cared for and treated lots of different soldiers. And she even went onto the battlefield, straight where the firing line was, where all the soldiers were fighting, to help the soldiers in action. That was something that Florence Nightingale never did. So she went that extra mile to help those soldiers, to help those injured soldiers to get better. And she did that by going to them straight on that battlefield. What an incredible woman. So the war ended in 1856, and Mary Seacole returned to England at that point. Then she died on the 14th of May, 1881, at the age of 76, and that was in her London home. So I hope you enjoyed learning about Mary Seacole. I found it very fascinating because I learnt facts that I didn't know before about Mary Seacole, so I found it really interesting. What was your favourite fact? I found it really interesting that she learnt her skills of how to be a nurse from her mother. So she didn't go and have proper training, she went with all those skills that she learnt from her mother at a very young age. I think that's incredible. So, what I would like you to think about now is, if Mary Seacole were alive today, what question would you ask her? What more would you like to know about her? For me, I would ask her, were you scared, Mary? Were you scared going right onto the battlefield, right in the firing line to help those soldiers? Were you afraid? Because that's a very brave thing to do. So have a think. If you could learn a little bit more about her, knowing the facts that Miss White was just given you, what question would you ask her? So write these questions down and share them with us on Evidence Me, because we'd love to see them. So I hope you enjoyed learning all about Mary Seacole and thinking about those people who help us. Good luck with your lists, and we look forward to also seeing your questions that you would ask Mary Seacole. See you later. Bye.